Development and Finance Committee meeting for the Housing Opportunities Commission of Montgomery County. Today is Tuesday, March 17th, 2026. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I guess I'm not wearing green. I am Commissioner Jeff Merkowitz. With me today are Commissioners Robin Solomon and Jonathan Miller. And we are also joined by President Chelsea Andrews and additional HOC staff. The first order of business is the approval of the minutes from our open and closed sessions from February 24th.
I move to approve them.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The minutes are approved. We have one item for discussion in the open session today, having to do with our property at the Oaks at Four Corners and possible renovation or redevelopment of that property. And I will turn it over to President Chelsea Andrews for discussion.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, the HOC team, and members of the public. Commissioners, this item is before you for initial feasibility work that we need to take on in terms of exploring opportunities to refresh this property and or potentially redevelop it. It's an asset that we've owned for many years. It was built in the mid-'80s and has not been renovated since that time. It's serving our seniors well, but we do believe that it's well past time to do some renovation work. As you are aware, there has been some zoning shifts and changes in the county in this particular corridor, which also allows us an opportunity to pause and explore the possibilities for this asset. I would like to turn it over to our real estate team. Here today presenting this item, we have both Catherine Hollister, our housing acquisition manager, as well as our Walker Taylor, who is our senior financial analyst. Thank you.
Yep, great. Thank you, President Andrews. For the record, Walker Taylor, Senior Financial Analyst with the Real Estate Development Team. So today we're bringing forward a request for feasibility funding at the Oaks at Four Corners, which is an 120-unit property located at 321 University Boulevard in Silver Spring. The property was built in 1985 and serves residents ages 62 years of age and older. And the property has never undergone comprehensive renovation since it was built in 1985, like President Andrews said. So HOC acquired the property on July 14th, 1995, and refinanced the property with senior debt in the amount of $3.69 million. The debt matures and will be fully repaid on September 1st, 2026. And as a part of this refinancing, HOC entered into a regulatory agreement that restricted 48 units at or below 60% of the AMI. Additionally, there's an outstanding loan from the county in the amount of $2.34 million. This is a non-interest-bearing loan and was the purchase price of the rights for the property that the county allowed HOC to defer paying up front at the time of acquisition. And this is directly tied to the ground lease that was assigned to HOC when the property was acquired. So this debt and the ground lease both expire on December 31st, 2035. This loan also has a shall pay requirement, which requires HOC to pay all net cash flow to the county on July 1st of each year. So this basically ensures the property remains cash neutral. And so as a part of this feasibility stage, staff will begin discussions with the county to renegotiate this existing ground lease. And while the property is in above average condition for its age, it has not undergone any comprehensive renovation since it was built over 40 years ago. Therefore, staff is requesting $400,000 in feasibility funding from the Opportunity Housing Development Fund. Next slide would be great. Yeah, so as you can see here, as of March 6th, the property was 96.6% occupied. Historically, the property maintains very low turnover, with most turnover coming from either residents passing away or moving into hospice care. So, and then also, it's important to note here that on December 9th, 2025, the Montgomery County Council approved the University Boulevard Corridor Plan, and this effectively rezoned Oaks from a single-family residential zoning to a high-density transit-oriented commercial residential zone. Next slide, please. So as you can see here, the critical property needs are listed. In fiscal year 26, the property underwent two major CapEx projects, which included a roof replacement and elevator repairs. While these address the immediate needs of the property is, as we stated, over 40 years old and has reached a point where comprehensive renovations are required. Next slide, please. So the Oaks is, one of 10 age-restricted properties in HOC's portfolio when the population of seniors in the county is growing. The goals of this renovation aim to address the deferred maintenance, enhance the long-term viability of the asset, and improve the quality of life for the residents. In addition to addressing these infrastructure needs, staff is evaluating the highest and best use of the site, exploring both a traditional renovation as well as a full-scale redevelopment in light of the University Boulevard corridor plan. The preliminary sources and uses shown in the table in the slide are based on current operating assumptions. Given the property's smaller scale and existing rent levels, the projected senior debt proceeds are limited. Therefore, staff is evaluating a potential LIHTC syndication. As a part of the feasibility stage, staff will explore a wide range of property improvement strategies, including redevelopment. Next slide, please. So in order to begin these feasibility studies for potential renovations or redevelopment of the property, staff is requesting $400,000 from the OHDF. This would assist in hiring third-party due diligence, feasibility consultants, conducting site due diligence, determining immediate short and long-term capital needs, renegotiating the existing ground lease, as well as determining if the property is best suited for renovations or redevelopment. And just to note, the OHDF had a balance of $3.4 million as of February 1st, 2026. So this would reduce it by $400,000. And we will open it up to any questions you may have.
One question I had, if you could go back to the sources and uses.
Mhm.
And just, we already own this property, so I'm just curious if you could explain the acquisition costs that are included in there. Is that like a function of LIHTC or?
And is there any cash that's going to change hands in the acquisition price?
What was that?
Is there any cash that will inure to the benefit of the agency from the acquisition as well?
So I am. Let's see if-
Commissioners, I would just say that the sources and uses are currently just placeholders as we're exploring. This is the initial assessment in terms of feasibility. So we're not even certain if this would be a redevelopment,
Right.
if this would be
No,
a
and I realize we're not
renovation.
approving this.
I think
just-
the acquisition cost was put in place as it pertains to LIHTC and looking at that in terms of increasing basis and how you approach a LIHTC project. We would definitely be coming back to have further conversation around what the possibilities are, if there's a cash flow that could potentially come to the commission. I will say, just to provide some context, and I know there's some questions around affordability at this site as well. The property currently has very minimal cash flow at its current split between 60% market, which is still affordable in that area, and the affordability covenant that's been placed on the asset. So going deeper in affordability without us thinking about other redevelopment options or other sources would probably be difficult here, but we will explore all avenues, and we would be better poised to have further discussion around sources and uses when we get later in this process.
Fair enough.
I don't know about fair enough.
Okay.
I do appreciate getting this information early, which wasn't the case when I first joined the commission. So I appreciate it. I fully understand. I think we all understand this is very preliminary. You're still finding your way. It's $12,283.48. It's not a rounded number. So something went into that number, even if it's preliminary, right? You didn't just go like this and stick a number in. And so back sort of to Jeff's question, if you could get back to us, it's probably sitting in your computer.
Right.
My question was, aside from Jeff's question, is there any cash coming back? Would there be in this tentative early stage cash coming back to the agency or not? part of my ongoing thought process is cushion and deals. Going along with that thought, I'm sorry, I'm not taking time, and I've asked this before, in the other sources is some of that deferred developer fee. Is there a cash fee being built in? I know your numbers are preliminary. We're not going to hold you to any of the numbers. We're grown-ups. But it'd be nice to know at this preliminary level, is the entire fee deferred or is some of it cash?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Sure.
For the record, I'm Kyrene Brown, Senior Executive Vice President.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you as well. Question noted, but I'd like to also point out that and I agree with President Andrews, these are very, very, very preliminary. And I'd like to point out that there is a seller note for $10 million. So there's a seller note for $10 million suggesting that there isn't the opportunity for cash to come back to HOC.
The way the seller note works, Jeff, is
Right,
it's a
so-
non-cash source and a
Mhm.
non-cash use
Right.
in acquisition.
And so, yes, we would have estimated a value for the property based on a cap rate. But again, Chelsea's correct. Very, very preliminary. We haven't done any underwriting. We're merely taken the operating numbers as they are to provide you with some indication of where things stand today.
I have another question.
So, thank you, Chelsea, for the addressing the affordability issue. I had raised that question in an email last night to her, whether or not there was a possibility for increasing either the number of units or the making the targeting deeper. So thank you for that answer. I guess to understand that a little bit more, so is the issue that the market rates are not sufficiently high to generate to support either more units or lower?
Right. The market rates reflect what the market
Yeah.
can afford in the area. And then, of course, we're confined with typically just applying VRG,
VRG?
which is voluntary rent guidelines in terms of rental
Right.
increases over
Gotcha.
time. And then you have the 40% that are restricted. Yes.
And the 40% was part of the original regulatory agreement.
Yes.
And if we did go do the low income housing tax credit approach, would that stay the same?
If we went through a low-income housing tax credit approach, the entire property could potentially be within the 60% or less, and some level of layering and determining what that mix may look like. The team may come up with a proposal that ultimately creates a condo structure if we're going to develop more units. And so, again, it's just really, we're at the feasibility level. I will say that from our perspective, considering the age of this asset, the question really isn't should we move forward with determining what the feasibility is. It's going to be more of a question for the commission on what that structure could look like and how far we go with renovations, and or if this is a property where we are able to actually reconsider a totally different strategy around development.
So that was going to be my other comment. While we're on this slide, as you noted, the new University Boulevard corridor, and it's a pretty big property, if I recall, a piece of property, if I recall. So I really encourage creative thinking here, and whether or not there's an opportunity to do a lot more than what exists. So thank you.
The market units, are they effectively low income?
Yes.
So, and do you know their incomes in the market units?
I mean, a lot of these are seniors on fixed income, right? So they're effectively.
So you have a solid, so if you did a credit deal, you feel comfortable that,
Right.
the people in place are eligible. Thank you. And were you thinking 9% or 4%? I know it's conceptual, we're just starting. But you did put a number down there for equity, and so it was based
Yeah,
on.
this is a 4% deal.
So I mentioned to Michael the other day a structure, I don't want to go into detail on it, but a cash collateralized structure that generates added basis and sources. And I just wanted to point out that I only mentioned it in passing to Michael, and maybe some are familiar with it, but I found that it generates extra sources in equity than a traditional structure. I don't want to go into it now, but it's worth thinking about. Some of your bankers or lawyers may be familiar with it, or maybe Karina's familiar with it.
I'm not, no, not in response to your conversation with Michael. But senior 9% deals don't compete well at CDA. She said 4%. 9% for seniors don't compete well. So we would be evaluating this as a 4% transaction.
And I remember, and maybe for Jonathan's benefit, Zach or somebody telling us how it's hard in Montgomery County to get a 9% allocation for QAP reasons that I don't recall, but
But thank you, Commissioner Solomon, for raising another potential structure for us to look at. We'll go deeper into that. As you may know, our real estate team does its work. Our mortgage finance team does its work. And so we're really at the stage now where that initial, the real estate team is looking at what the potential may be as we begin to start thinking about how we would finance it. That's where we begin really involving mortgage finance. But we'll follow up with this conversation that you've had to explore the possibilities for sure.
thank you. And I only mentioned it in passing just to pass it along.
Yeah.
But I found Sudden Source that didn't exist.
Well,
I
that's
find
great.
That
We need all the sources we can get.
and nobody turns away sources that don't come with strings. I had a couple other questions. We will use renovation and redevelopment as separate concepts. Does redevelopment mean tear it down and build something new? Is that the thought?
Or expand or correct.
Then I also, and maybe this is my ignorance, we talked about getting a phase 1 and a part 58. I don't know what a part 58 is.
That's the HUD reference to the document. It's called a.
It's a part of the
full-
environmental review
right.
that we have to submit to HUD. It's
Okay.
Part 58. So it's a part of the phase 1.
Probably
It's just
something
an add-on.
people have done in my deals, then just didn't tell me the number. The 80,000 for legal and other redevelopment consultants, it jumped out at me for this early stage as a
Yeah,
big
so a lot
numbers.
of that, I think we wanted to include some cushion in order to renegotiate that existing ground lease. So we have a little bit more cushion for legal in there.
and that's with the county.
Correct. Yes.
It just seems like a lot of legal for.
Correct. We want to have a good bit of cushion there.
Thank you for your time. And again, we do understand it's preliminary. I would appreciate though, when you do a preliminary, if you would put what your preliminary thought is on the cash and deferred fee. Thank you.
Are there any additional questions? If not, is there a motion to support the staff's recommendation and send this to the full commission?
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are no additional items for the open agenda today, pursuant to Section 3-305B and D of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, I move to adopt the written closing statement dated March 17, 2026, and to adjourn this open session to a closed session to discuss HOC's scattered site properties. HOC must discuss this topic in closed session to protect a third party's confidential commercial and financial information. Section 3-305B13 allows this meeting to be closed. If a member of the public that is watching this meeting in real time on YouTube wishes to object to the closed meeting, please comment in the YouTube chat box or contact HOC's General Counsel. Instructions can be found in the Open Meetings Act objection procedures, which is posted on HOC's website. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. This meeting is now closed, and we will move into closed session. So, thank you.
Thank you.